doesn't love a spicy take? I know I do. I love me some hot takes. I love hearing them, and I love giving them. Root beer, overrated. Pickleball, also overrated. Competitive arm wrestling, way underrated. Have you guys been watching competitive arm wrestling? Have you ever gone down the competitive arm wrestling YouTube rabbit hole? It is the best time you will ever spend. A lot of people putting out, their controversial comic book opinions right now, and there's some good ones. There was a really good, thread going on the Facebook group right now, and there was a ton of them, and I started reading a few, and I was like, you know what? We got to do a reaction, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on these, and maybe give your guys' controversial comic book takes in the comments down below. But of course, before I get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I would appreciate it. Help support the channel, doing those things. But let us get into this video here today. Now, here we have a post from J&S Collectibles, a comic book store, I believe one of the top contributors to the Facebook comic book group. If you guys don't know about the comic book group on Facebook, I highly recommend that you join them. But this post was made by J&S Collectibles. What is your most controversial comic book opinion? And as far as viral posts, within the comic book group go, this was definitely one of the most viral. I mean, we had tons and tons of comments on this one. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a reaction with you guys here today because hot takes, man, everybody's got them. And we have to see if we can dump on some of these hot takes or if we can call them true. So let's go through and see what people had to say. 274 comments. That is a lot. That is a lot for a post like this. All right, first controversial comic book opinion. We all suck. True. Big true. Gotta love the internet. All right, next up here. It is my opinion that just because comic books contain a first appearance or is considered a key does not mean it is a good comic. Fads will come and go, but a great comic book is timeless. I made a whole video about controversial comics. If you'd like a link, cheers. Let's see. Just because it's not a first appearance or a key does not make it a great comic. Is that a controversial opinion? I feel like that's an obvious true, right? That's like a clear true. I mean, if we're talking about values here, as far as like comic book, first appearances and stuff like that, it's not even the first appearances that are always the most valuable comic books, right? Like sometimes people just love banger covers, like Silver Surfer 4, the cover with Silver Surfer and Thor. That's just one of the banger covers, and it's more valuable than a lot of first appearances. So is it controversial? I'm not so sure, but it is true what he said. All right, next up. Oh my, I don't think Miles is going to fund many long-term retirements. He is very popular with younger audience, but that group is more interested in phones than comic books. I believe it's a smallish bubble of old white guys trying to sell each other that will eventually burst while the majority are still chasing Peter Parker. True. Another true, but I don't know if this is a controversial opinion either. I mean, actually, you know what I'm going to say? Actually, this might be a spicy take. Depending on how you guys feel, this might be a spicy take. I think Miles is a cool character. I think UF4 will always have some value. I think a lot of younger people like UF4. I think the modern audience does skew a little bit younger. But I also do think there are so many people that have been speccing on this stuff. Like there are people that have been sitting on boxes of UF4s. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for that book to outpace that of, the Amazing Fantasy 15. Simply due to supply. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. Now, the Drzevic variant, I think that's definitely the best one to go to if you are a Miles fan. But as we've seen, in this market, even the Drzevic variant has had its pullbacks. So is it controversial to say that? I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, where I see UF4 is it'll go by the way of, the Amazing Spider-Man 129s and the giant size X-Men ones. It's similar print count to that. It's a similar tier of book. Will the kids have the same nostalgia for it? I don't know. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Miles? All right, next up. Stan Lee is overrated and stole most of the spotlight from actual creators. True. Big true. He did. I mean, Stan Lee is like the Steve Jobs, right? He's like the Steve Jobs. He's like, I want all of this amazing stuff to happen, and I want it to happen now. So you do it. Figure it out. I mean, that's kind of what Stan Lee was. But does that make him overrated? I mean, he's overrated as a writer, a script writer, but he's not overrated as a storyteller and an ambassador. Stan Lee is a lot like George Lucas. Is George Lucas the best screenwriter? Absolutely not. Is he the best director? Definitely not. Is he an amazing storyteller? You know, is he an amazing world builder? Is he a great ambassador to an IP? 100%. So did Stan Lee take all the credit? Kinda, yeah. But is he overrated? Depends on how you want to frame him as being overrated. But this one did get a lot of upvotes. Also, this Miles one got a lot of upvotes as well. I love that this is just a picture. You know, like, what's your most controversial comic take? And it's just Wildcats. Wildcats. Another true. George Clooney was an absolute perfect choice for Batman Bruce Wayne. That was unfortunately cast in an utterly horrible mockery of a Batman film. Had he been cast in Christopher Nolan-style quality Batman movie series, he would have been the pinnacle. I kind of liked Val Kilmer as Batman. Is that a controversial opinion? Is that a hot take? Was George Clooney any good? It's been a long time since I've seen Batman and Robin. Honestly, I feel like, yeah, if you put him in the Christopher Nolan universe, like, of course he's going to be good, because Christopher Nolan's going to carry whoever it is in his film to the promised land. So I don't think that this is that controversial of a take. Writing on a comic should always lower the comic's grade. I don't care who signed it. Ooh, spicy. Okay. What do you guys think about this? Writing on the comic should, in fact, lower the grade. Well, let's unpack this here. What is the grade? We're trying to get as close to off the printing press as we can, right? Like, that's what we're trying to get when we buy a high grade comic book. We want the least amount of human meddling and interaction that has occurred on a comic book. Therefore, it is the most preserved version of that book in its original state. Now, someone writing on it is meddling. I'm going to say that this is true. Now, that being said, it can affect the grade, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it would affect the value. Follow me here. Because value is just what somebody wants to pay for something. And it just so happens that most people want a higher grade, like a 9.8. But let's say you were like, had a 9.8 ASM1, with a single spine tick on it, that still got a 9.8. And then you had a 9.6 ASM1 with a Stan Lee signature. I mean, maybe someone is willing to pay more for the 9.6 ASM1. This is a bad example because the 9.8 is still going to sell for more. But you guys know what I mean with this. I think writing on a comic book, I think there's an argument to be made here. Venom, Carnage, Null, and all of the symbiotes are one-dimensional, rule of cool characters that we would be better off without. Venom, Carnage, and Null are all one-dimensional characters. We'd be better off without them. You know what? This is a hard one because Carnage is cool. Like, okay, we're going to assume that we're keeping Venom in this scenario, right? And we know that Carnage and Null are the derivative characters out of this. They're cool characters, but I will say I do hate expanded universes in comic books. Meaning, I hate the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry, this is my controversial opinion. The Spider-Verse sucks. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like going off into like 50 different kinds of Spider-Man. I don't like it. Too many characters. I hate going into comic book stores and seeing 50 different Spider-Man titles. Like, I don't like that. I want one Spider-Man. I want one Daredevil. I want one Captain America. I want one Doctor Strange. I want one X-Men team. I just want one. Keep it clean. It's too crazy. Like when you're going off on all these things. So to this person's point, Venom, Carnage, and Null, it's like, I mean, how many more symbiotes, do we have to do? Now, I'm a little bit on the fence with this one because I think Venom, Carnage, and Null are all very different. And at least they have very different character design. Although you could make that argument with the Spider characters. Screw them. Get rid of Null. Get rid of Carnage. Whatever. Extreme 90s typically drawn female figures. Drained story interest. False. False. Come on, man. Extreme 90s typically drawn female figures. Everybody loves the good old simp covers, guys. Everybody loves them. Okay, wait. Jokes aside, I think that style of characters saved 90s comic books. Hear me out on this. Once you had the 90s boom speculation, all the Image stuff and everything, and things were going like crazy, and then comic books crashed and all that stuff, what happened? Like, think about the style of like 1995 through 2001. It was all like voluptuous, bombastic, like super over the top female characters, swimsuit issue editions, and you had like Captain America with the Rob Liefeld chest. I mean, even the dudes were getting drawn to ridiculous proportions. And I think there's a reason for that. Because in tough economic times, you know what sells really well? Simp covers. And here we are, coming off of last year. It was a tough time in the comic book market. What did we get a lot of? Big-chested female characters on covers. That's what we got a lot of. So I don't think it drained story interest. I think it kept the market afloat at that time until everybody was ready to go back to storytelling. I don't mind that LCSs are going under. I get better prices and better service online. Ooh, wow. I'll miss digging through old long boxes and stuff, but anything good you find, they rip you off on at checkout. Damn, dude. No more LCSs. That's a controversial opinion. How do you guys feel about that? That's a sad one to me. I got to say, I disagree. I know that there are some issues with LCSs, and there are quite a few LCSs that I no longer go to because I don't like how they run their business. But some of my best finds are at LCSs because, I think that the LCSs have the best finds because online you're competing with all the other hardcore people that are searching for the best prices versus in a comic book store, you're just competing with the local network of people. So you can find those gems. So I like LCSs. And I've said many times, like, I think that they're basically the community hub for people to gather and talk comics and hang out and have that like community element. I don't know, man. LCS is going under. Controversial. Secret Wars 5 is the most important comic book made in 30 years. Big true. Obviously. Go buy Secret Wars 5, guys. You're going to go to the moon. It was in the Deadpool trailer. So if you go on eBay right now, comic books only go up in value. Imagine what that book is going to do once the movie is actually released. Just imagine. I'm being facetious in case you actually thought that I want you to buy the book. Oh, Saga sucks. Saga sucks. Damn, dude. How do you guys feel about that? That's a tough... You want to talk controversial opinions? This is probably the most controversial one I've read so far. And I'll tell you why. Nobody says Saga sucks. And it's one of those things where it's kind of not okay to say it. Like, it'd be the same thing if I said, like, the Beatles suck. Like, that's not a controversial take that is politically correct. Like, you can't say the Beatles suck. Like, you're not allowed to say that. Or if I said The Godfather is a terrible movie. Like, you are not allowed to say that. You know, that is something that is not okay. You lose all credibility when you say that. To say that Saga sucks, that is controversial. That is a true controversial statement. What do I think about Saga? I thought it was pretty good. I will say I read the first trade, which was the first 6 issues, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't go on. I stopped. Like, I wasn't necessarily interested in continuing. I didn't love the art style for Saga. It's not the best art, in my opinion. That's my little thing with it. But the writing is great. So, pretty controversial right there. What do you guys think about Saga? How do you feel about that one? Many people think that they'll make money on their speculation books, and when they don't, they badmouth the movies or shows. Haters gonna hate. I think that that's kind of true, but this is the game, man. You guys got to know, spec books, there's a time to buy them and there's a time to sell them. And every speculation book has the potential to actually go up in value, but you have to sell into the hype. So the people that don't know about selling into the hype, maybe they get jaded and bitter about their speculation. You know, the people who bought Secret Wars 5 when the Deadpool trailer came out are one day going to be really, really upset, and they're going to say that this book is trash because they bought it when the Deadpool trailer came out. But the people that bought it before the trailer, before it was ever a thing, because they were thinking, hey, Secret Wars is coming, I'm just going to be stacking all the Secret Wars books, it's their favorite book because they sold into the hype of the Deadpool trailer and they made all of their money back and more. So I don't know. Multiverses suck. I disagree. I think multiverses are cool. If you guys watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was a banger movie. That was about the multiverse. I think that this is akin to like superhero fatigue versus bad writing fatigue. If it's a good story, if it's executed well, then it's awesome. And the multiverse can be super cool if you do it well. Now, it's just hard to do well. And so far in the MCU, they've not been doing it well. And that's why it feels like it sucks. Dark Knight Returns and Year One are not the best Batman stories. I don't know. Year One is good. Dark Knight is good. I don't know what I would say is better. What do you guys think? I'm not a Batman story historian. I've read a bunch of them, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that one? Modern books are not interesting anymore. Do you consider indies modern? Because I think that they're still really interesting. I think there's a lot of great titles out. 8 Billion Genies was one of the best stories I've read in the last 10 years. That was amazing. Modern books are not interesting anymore. You know what? I'm going to say this. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I kind of feel like any comic book that has come out past Brian Michael Bendis era, like basically anything past 2012, I don't really consider it canon. Do you guys feel like that? Like whatever is happening in Spider-Man right now, I kind of feel like it's just fan fiction. Like I don't actually think it's part of the lore. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? So when he says modern books are not interesting, I almost get it, but there's good modern books out there. Whoa. Darkhawk is a ripoff of A Man Called Nova, and A Man Called Nova is a ripoff of the Green Lantern. How dare you? Darkhawk is his own person. He is way better than Nova. Nova sucks. Darkhawk rules. Green Lantern drools. How's that for a controversial opinion? Don't you dare say that. Second prints are just first reprints. True. Hulk 180 is the first appearance of Wolverine. True. Joker is a horrible character. That's get Get out of here. What are you talking about? Todd McFarlane is overrated as a writer and an artist. Half true, half right. Overrated as a writer. He's not a good writer, guys. I mean, actually, does anyone even rate him a good writer? Maybe not. Overrated as an artist? False. False. Even though I highly appreciate his work and he is a legend, I really don't care for Jack Kirby's art. It's too crude and blockheadish, yet I will still buy issues he did. It's not really my thing, just my opinion. True. I'm sorry. The multiverse has created lazy writing. We kind of already did this one. Poor character. Yes, it does lend itself to lazy writing, but multiverse can still be cool. Marvel movie shows after Endgame don't suck. The hardcore fans are ruining these films with their bad reviews because they're jaded neckbeards. The negative reviews get in your head and you go in already hating it. No. The movies post-Endgame, save for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 3, were great. All the other movies are subpar. I've not done a Marvel tier list, but I would make one, and none of them would be in the top half, with the exception of the ones that I said. But I will say I'll give him some partial credit in that we already draw lines in the sand with movies before they're even out, and I don't know how we get over that anymore. And this is outside of Marvel as well. Daredevil is a boring character regardless of creator team. Wow. False. Comics after the 1980s are bad. I don't think that they're bad at all. I think objectively comics after 1980 are written better. They are. But I don't necessarily consider things canon. More than 2 variant covers per issue should be illegal. When it's my book, false. When it's other people's books, true. The Marvel Netflix shows are just not that good at all. With the exception of the Barenthal, none of the casting is really that good. Wow. Jessica Jones season 1 was fire. Daredevil season 1 was fire. Rob Liefeld gets 95% of the blame for bad 90s comics, and a lot of it is undeserved, although some of it is. Does he get 95% of the blame? I mean, he's a part of it, but yeah, he shouldn't get 95%. Todd McFarlane is just Rob Liefeld, who got lucky. I don't know, Rob Liefeld got pretty lucky too. I really enjoyed Spider-Man One More Day and Spider-Man One Moment in Time. I gotta be honest, guys, I've not read Spider-Man One More Day. I know, I lost my nerd card with you guys. Jim Lee's style of artwork stifled artistic creativity for a decade. You know what? That's not a bad take. Because I think that there were so many Jim Lee copycats after he blew up. Speculators and investors are worse for the hobby than gimmicks and variant covers. False. No way. No way, dude. No way. Untrue. Homage covers are massively overdone and just lazy. True. 180 is the true first Wolverine. We already said true. All right, how many more we got here? Edge of the Spider-Verse are just getting out of hand now. True. Comics entombed in plastic defeat the purpose of the book. Ooh, CGC's the devil. Batman is the most overrated character in comics. No, false. How is he the most overrated? Comics were invented by aliens. I don't even get that one. Is Batman overrated? No way he's overrated. Because, like, there's so many other characters that I feel like are way overrated. Who's more overrated than Batman? I don't know. Whatever random Spider-Verse character there is. Spider-Punk. He's way more overrated than Batman. We don't need Spider-Punk. I'm sorry, guys, if you like Spider-Punk. Anyways, that's all right for this video. That was me going over controversial comic book opinions. Let me know what you guys think. What are your guys' controversial opinions out there? What are your guys' thoughts on some of the ones that were posted? I'll leave you with a couple of my own that I'll just pull out of the hat right now. Green Lantern and Thor: The Dark World, the movies, weren't that bad. Anyways, that's all right for this video. What do you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one.